Hey, happy Saturday. Thank you for pressing play on today's episode. I've got a great conversation with Heidi Stevens of Chicago. I figured we better check in with somebody there. We've got a lot of great listeners out there as well, and I am hearing from so many of you also in Portland about the ongoings, the federal invasion, Trump's invasion of your cities, your towns, and I'm sure we're all going to see a lot more of this, unfortunately, although I'm inspired by the resistance and the reactions and the satirists and protesters who are doing amazing non-violent displays of protest in all of these places. If you're one of those folks, you should be real proud of what you're doing, standing up. I'm very impressed. At work matters. Doing that, supporting that matters. And stay safe out there. So Heidi Stevens is my guest. She is one of my favorite writers, columnists. I discovered her years ago when she was a columnist at the Chicago Tribune, where she's still syndicated, and she actually did a story on some work I was doing, some activism I was doing with anti-violence groups, domestic violence groups, women's groups, specifically violence against women. I worked on that issue for a couple of years with a few different nonprofits that I volunteered for and spoke and hosted different events and so on, raised money for, and actually even launched this kind of little campaign trying to get an awareness campaign called Dads for Daughters. Heidi wrote a piece about it in the Chicago Tribune. It was really wonderful, and that's where I discovered her work and have been reading her ever since. Also, I'm a member of her Facebook group. If you're on the Facebook, you should definitely go over and join this group that she has. I mean, all these platforms are insidious, but if you curate them certain ways and connect with groups and people that you like, have something in common with, they can be really wonderful. And Heidi Stevens Balancing Act is the Facebook group that you should join. She's got almost 14,000 people there. She writes about all kinds of work and life issues, gender, race, parenting, politics, current events, communities. It's all on the table. She's always great. You should read her and watch her. And right now, she's also a big runner and fitness person, health person. And she is a very Chicago-centric person. Her son is in high school. Her daughter is in college now, but they raised them there. And she's been jumping in Lake Michigan every day and posting about it on Instagram, where you should also follow her for more of that inspiration and real talk. I always love talking with her. I checked in with her yesterday live on YouTube, and this is the conversation that we had. I hope you like it. Chicago's own Heidi Stevens. If you don't know her, you should. If you've never been to Chicago, what's wrong with you? Thank you very much for joining me. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Pete. Thanks for having me.
Somebody in your latest post and your great piece about what's going on in Chicago and talking about the marathon this weekend, which you've run, somebody referred to you as Chicago's conscience. So I just said, you know what, we've got to talk to Chicago's conscience about what's happening in Chicago.
Thank you. Thanks for noting that and following up on it. Because last week you called me a dime store Elizabeth Gilbert, so I like Chicago's conscience better.
Somebody called you a dime store Elizabeth Gilbert?
Yeah. Like, we can't eat, pray, love our way out of this moment, which I totally agree with, actually.
Oh, that is so mean and funny. I'm not sure how you're supposed to even feel about that, but you do write a lot of thoughtful, and I'm trying to compare you to Elizabeth Gilbert's writing, but I think it's ridiculous. But you do write a lot of thoughtful, hopeful, inspirational stuff. You take a deep dive into all the darkest corners of our lives and the world. So fine. I guess it's a flattering comparison, but still it's.
Well, I try to infuse a little bit of hope into most of what I write, but that's also how I live. So it's not a false hope or a phony sort of contrived hope. It's like I actually do look around and see a whole bunch of things that give me hope. And when I want to give into hopelessness, I look around at all the things that I would lose if we gave up. And then I snap out of it and find something to hope for so I can remember to fight for it, right? I mean,
I love that. Yeah, no, it's you do in your writing and you do in your life. And one thing that you're doing right now is you're going into, you go on runs and walks all the time. I was on a Chicago radio show the other day, Joan Esposito, who knows you very well. And so I dropped your name. I was like, I'm good friends with Heidi Stevens. And she says, oh, tell Heidi, we love Heidi, but why does she getting in the lake. She's jumping in Lake Michigan. It's October. It's mid-October, and every day for like weeks now, you've gone swimming in Lake Michigan, which I think you told me was like 49 degrees. Why? What are you doing?
So, okay, to be fair, the water is still in the 60s. The air this morning was 49 when I jumped in the water, meaning the water was actually like a little warmer than the air, so it kind of felt good. What doesn't feel good is the wind hitting you when you're soaking wet. But it's so cathartic. And I honestly, like, I made a little pledge to myself at the beginning of the month to jump in Lake Michigan every day for the month of October, just as a way to close my laptop, put my phone down, stop fighting with people on Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky, all the places. And I repeated it out loud at home once and told my son. And so the first day it got really cold in Chicago, I was like, he's like, are you going to go swim? And I was like, I'll put my feet in. And he's like, that's not swimming. And I was like, well, it's only 60 degrees. And he's like, yeah, and it's only October 7th. I was like, oh, such a good point. So I swam, and now, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Am I going to swim October 27th if it's snowing?
I think you should. I think you should do it for Chicago and for the rest of us.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to hold you to it.
Okay.
I just hear from the warmth of wherever I'm at. And so you really should get out there.
So when I ran the marathon in 23, did you see how long it took me to bring up the fact that I ran a marathon? I mean, we've been talking like 3 minutes by now. They had me on NPR the day or a couple days before, and they were like, what's your goal in running this marathon? And I was like, I just want to beat Al Gore. That's my goal.
You want to beat him, not be him.
Beat. I need to run faster than Al Gore ran the marathon.
Fair.
But then, I had put it out there, and I did not, in fact, run faster than I'm actually slower than Al Gore. And now, I said it on national radio. So that was embarrassing.
You ran the marathon in 23, and the marathon is this Sunday in Chicago?
Correct.
But what about the war?
It's a little insensitive to host a marathon during a war.
I mean, your piece is really beautiful that you posted today. Everybody should go read it. And if anybody knows a little bit about Chicago, and hopefully people do, I jokingly said, if you've never been to Chicago, you should go. And in the live chats, my friend Rachel's like, who's never been to Chicago? It's a good question and a good point. But yeah, I also looked up just now Chicago, news and happenings. And like every other major city and town in America, there's all kinds of fun fall happenings this weekend. It's October, whatever. So many things are happening in Chicago this weekend, as they do every weekend. How would you give us a sense of the general feeling?
Playoffs. I mean, there's still baseball in October in Chicago. That's huge. Yeah, it's bear season. It's pumpkin season. It's apple. It's people's lives go on. Joy is happening. Fandom is happening. Families are happening. I say that with gratitude and a little bit of pride, we're fine. But I also say that knowing that simultaneously people are experiencing the worst days of their lives when ICE is going up to parked cars outside of elementary schools and yanking parents out of them. If you haven't read about it yet, Google the military style middle of the night raid at a South Shore apartment building that people are never, ever going to fully recover from the trauma of being yanked out of your bed at gunpoint and handcuffed with no warrant and no cause. I mean, that kind of stuff is happening right now as we speak in Chicago also. And before any troops arrived in Chicago, before ICE arrived in Chicago, Chicago had a violence problem. America has a violence problem. Chicago is one of America's biggest cities. There's violence here. We are a blue state surrounded by red states. Gun laws are more lax in our neighboring states. It's easy to get guns here. All of the things are true. What I tried to capture in my column today, because it is this very interesting moment of we have people from all over the world in our city this weekend to run the 47th Chicago Marathon. It gets people from over 100 countries because it's one of the world majors. There's 7 major marathons in the world, and Chicago's one. So simultaneously, there's all these people flocking to Chicago from around the world, speaking a million languages and bringing their culture here and wearing their bibs and representing their cities and communities. I'm running with them on the lakefront in the morning. I'm seeing them stop and take selfies in front of the skyline and the sunrise. And it's like so beautiful and moving. And I have run, as I said, in the marathon and been running next to people speaking a language I've never even heard before, let alone can't understand and speak it. So incredibly moving and hopeful and inspiring. And we have an Operation Blitz aimed at removing diversity, removing people from different parts of the world who've come to our city to do any number of things, right? Probably pursue a safer, happier, healthier life for themselves and their families. Maybe have been living that happier, healthier life with their families for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Both are happening. And so I tried to capture that a little bit in this column and also emphasize that like one isn't more true than the other.
Right.
Both things are true. Neither thing fully represents Chicago and neither thing fully represents this moment. And so, you know, it's up to us to decide which side of that landscape portrait we're going to look at and lean into and try to hold on to. And I hope it's the more hopeful, inspiring, inclusive one. But
how would you say, it's a great description of it. And again, everybody really needs to read this and everything that Heidi's writing, but how would you say the reaction to it is? I mean, this is your own kind of point of view. It's hard to get a sense of such a giant city with such diversity. But how is the reaction in Chicago to how you've been targeted? It's been really interesting to watch from afar and see your leaders, particularly the mayor, Brandon Johnson, the governor, J.B. Pritzker, who I think are, as far as I can tell, rhetorically at least, doing great everywhere they go in their interviews, at press conferences. They seem to be standing up for Chicago and for Illinois. But what is the sense that you get of the reaction to the public? What are your friends, neighbors, and what's the community? Is there any, are you divided, or is everybody basically just appalled at what's happening?
Wednesday night, with 24 hours notice, thousands and thousands of people swarmed the streets in protest, you know, kind of like a mini impromptu No Kings rally. That was really heartening. You know, our governor Pritzker, the Illinois governor, and Mayor Brandon Johnson, Chicago mayor, both have landed on Trump's radar. He wrote on Truth Social that they should both be jailed. So Pritzker was all over every show I saw him on yesterday saying, come get me. And Brandon Johnson, who's black, said, you know, this isn't the first time.
I don't know if that's my internet or Heidi's internet, but I'll blame her because she's just not here and I'm still here. You're back. I don't know what happened, but I vamped.
Do you hear me okay now?
I hear you fine. Like you never dropped for me. I think it might be my signal, but because you dropped, I blamed your internet, but it's probably mine. But you weren't here to defend yourself, so I just went after. I just blamed you.
You'll be hearing from my internet later. It's going to send you a sternly worded email. Anyway, I don't know. From what I'm seeing, and I've prefaced this entire conversation with like, I'm the dime store Elizabeth Gilbert. I've got the rose-colored glasses on, all the things. What I'm seeing a lot of is like, holy shit, here's a sign-up sheet to go to the neighborhood school and volunteer to walk kids home so their parents don't have to leave the house and get targeted by ICE. This food bank needs extra reinforcements. This rally is Wednesday night. Like, show up at Broadview, wear goggles, they're shooting us with pepper balls. Like, I'm not seeing people cower. I'm not, and liberal bubble, full transparency, but I'm not seeing sidewalk cafes empty and, you know, Cubs tickets go unpurchased. And I'm not seeing anyone sort of interrupt their daily dose of joy, exercise, ritual, routine. And I'm also not seeing them pretend that stuff's not happening. I'm seeing a both and, like, hey, we need to do a sign-up sheet to help. We need to go protest and demonstrate and make our voices known. And also we need to remind ourselves and whoever's watching that, like, this is not a war zone. this is not a war zone. This is not a hellscape. This is a really cool city with a gorgeous lake and a beautiful skyline and world-renowned architecture and amazing restaurants. And like, you're not taking that away from us because it would fit your narrative. Like, no, that's adorable that you think you can, but I mean, no.
I love it. I love to hear that people are looking out for folks, walking their kids to school, bringing them food. That's exactly what people are supposed to be doing in such situations, what people before us at other times in America did, what people are doing in other countries, taking care of people, building community, living their lives, standing up. And also, I'm really interested and fascinated in just the general protest, not only in Chicago, but we're seeing in Portland these kinds of like satire.
Yeah.
Like
Halloween costumes and
yeah, I think the goal is pretty clear. I've seen them state. I saw a guy in a frog uniform give an interview, which was just a peak something, but he basically stated is like, we are nonviolent and these ridiculous costumes are a gesture showing our nonviolence. Like, what are they going to do? And I think at right now, that's very effective to combat the narrative that comes from any number of news outlets, our Mad King saying that Chicago is a hellhole. It's war ravaged. Meanwhile, you've got these people in costumes dancing and playing instruments and connecting with each other. You think it's effective?
I think it's effective. I don't know what gets through the mind of someone who's supporting Trump's policies right now. I don't know how to read that kind of brain or thinking or lack of empathy. So my goal isn't really anymore, if it ever was, how do I think like them and then defeat them? Mine is more like, how do I find my community and what do we rally around and what do we make sure we hang on to so we don't get fatigued, overwhelmed, gaslit? Humor is a good one. And I mean, back to Pritzker. I don't know if you saw his bit on Jimmy Kimmel, where he's in a flak jacket and, pretending to report from war-torn Chicago. It's hilarious.
I saw it. I shared it. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant because he's combating the narrative. That's what we have to do is constantly combat this narrative and try it. It's impossible to get ahead of it because you never know the craziness they're going to throw out, but to react to it quickly to say, not true. It's not true what they're saying about my town, my city, my state, my life, trans people.
And he's the same guy that was being threatened with jail by the president of the United States, who hasn't shown a great interest in laws or checks and balances or procedures or anything. And still, he's like, I can still be funny. I can still go have fun and be on Jimmy Kimmel. I can do both. I can say, come get me. I can do a news conference. I can sign some bill, and then I can go do a funny thing.
And then I can go attend to the marathon, which is a huge event in Chicago. And so just to finish where we started, which is that you ran a marathon not too long ago. I think that's all I wanted to say. Have you only done one marathon only?
Could you reword that?
Only one eensy little marathon? That's all?
Yes. Just the one.
I've never run. I run pretty regularly throughout my life. I don't think I've ever gone further than 6 miles in my life at one time. It's too far. It's too far to run, I think.
6 miles is hard. When I signed up for the marathon, I had never run more than 5. But I joined a running group and, they teach you how to pace yourself. I only did the one. It was in 2023. I want to probably do another one someday, but it is real time consuming. The training
They say, by the way, let's keep going on this tangent. They say running groups are a great place to meet people. I don't know. What are they like? What are the runners like? All these other runners. Do we want to meet each other?
I love this question. I was so dreading a running group because I was like, it's kind of the one thing I do alone. Please don't talk to me. I'm trying to run. I have to talk back. It's a terrible design. But also runners are obnoxious. So do you just talk about how much you run? I'm so bored. I'm bored. I haven't even gotten there yet. I'm already bored. But or my protein this morning was blah, blah. I don't care what your protein was. Exactly. I didn't eat because it's 6 a.m. I just got to bed. I think because I'm, as I mentioned earlier, slower than Al Gore, I wasn't in a group of like elite runners. Like we had like a 10:30 pace. They were pretty chill, and actually they were lovely. And one of my favorite guys in my running group was a grandpa of 5. It was his like 12th marathon. And he was like, I'm like, okay, Grant, like give me advice. Like, how do I do this? And he was like, wear a hat that has, like a baseball cap, and put a letter underneath that, like put like S. And so when you look at it, you remember to smile. And I was like, oh, I love that, Grant. Wait, give me some more. Like, what else? And he was like, or G, to remember to grin. I was like, oh, wait, you're just going to give me synonyms of smile now. So
I love this. I love this advice. And
positive. So like,
maybe it is worth it then joining a running group, but
find the right one. Not hardcore, like I'm going to PR and I don't drink beer anymore and all that. Like find the one that's like, aren't we lucky that we're like, healthy enough to do something this kind of like optional and hard, but like we opted into hard. We're not at boot camp.
By the way, I love that message on the hat. It reminds me of in high school. I know your son's a big lacrosse player. I had on the inside of my face mask and my helmet, I had a little note to remind me. It's a little embarrassing now, but it said, "You are handsome." Anyway, let's move on. No, I did say I had a little reminder inside the mask. It said, "Keep your head up," because I would often like look at the ground while I'm running like an idiot. But those are good reminders. And I do have to say one more assumption, and I'm just going to make this judgment of you, and I want you to speak for any of the. I'm going to make it sexist. Are women and are you vulnerable to rucking? This is wearing a weighted vest as a training thing. I see you as maybe somebody who might. This is like a very big thing. Apparently, they're saying it's like women are doing this a lot. It's a very big fad. They're wearing a weighted vest because it's great exercise. I get, but are you a rucker? Are you rucker adjacent? Are you rucking?
I'm not rucking. I'm glad you just told me what that means. I get a whole bunch of like Instagram reels making fun of like middle-aged white ladies wearing weighted vests. I know it's a thing. It's not my thing. I'd probably be more prone to making fun of it, but also like I know we're supposed to be doing a lot of weight-bearing exercises so that we don't lose bone mass. And I certainly don't want to break a hip because then I can't run and jump in the lake. I don't hate the idea. I'm just not personally.
What do you think about combining everything and wearing a weighted vest in the lake? I worry it could bring you to the bottom, but
I might drown. There's no lifeguards on the beach. It's too cold, which is probably a sign that I should be swimming.
Heidi, she was rucking through Lake Michigan. All right. So the marathon is this weekend and it's a huge event. I was there once. I was in Chicago during the marathon and my friend was running. I was cheering him on. I certainly wasn't in it. And it's just a major event. And I feel like it's also a very good opportunity to bring positive attention to Chicago. What do you think? My last question, prediction for kind of what happens this weekend in terms of the message that gets out about your unbelievably amazing, beautiful city of Chicago.
I don't believe in jinxing, so I'm just going to go all in with my hope. I think it's going to be gorgeous weather. I think it's going to be record turnout of crowds. They usually get somewhere around 1.7 million spectators. I think people are going to like double down on the cheering because they want something to feel hopeful about and something to cheer for. I don't see ICE or troops messing with it. I just don't. So I'm predicting, famous last words, and I certainly hope to God I'm not wrong, but I think it's going to be an amazing event.
Great. We'll be watching. Thanks for joining me. Really appreciate you stopping by. And I know you got to run, so I appreciate you coming by, Heidi. Thank you very, very much. Go read Heidi and follow her on Facebook and all the places. Yeah, there she goes. Heidi Stevens. I hope you liked it. You can watch it on YouTube. We had some technical difficulties during the conversation, but I edited them out of the audio. I think they're still in the YouTube. I haven't gotten around to editing and reposting. Who wants to do that? So fix this internet situation. Thank you for pressing play and listening here on a Saturday or a Sunday or whenever you're listening to the show. I can't do it without you and your support. Patreon.com/Pete Dominic is the place to go. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you, especially you honeybees here at the end. When you're tired of begging, saying pretty please, that's the time you gotta finally get up on your knees.
When you can't see the forest for the burning trees, you got to stand up. Hey, you've been sitting so long, you got the creaky knees, you got to stand up. Stand up. I think you're driving wheels with leaking grease. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Well, there's a whole lot more of us who know what's right. They'll keep right on ignoring us if we keep sitting tight. You got to open up the window to let in some light. You got to stand up. That's right. You got to rise up. You got to stand up. You got to stare the devil straight in the eye. We got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. So get up off of your butt, get down off of your fence. Even if it ain't a very friendly audience, well, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense. And you stand up, stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town. Just stand up, stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Boy, you better stand up, stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. This is the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up, stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw a land for all. They had to stand up, they had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't even sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change would begin. They had to stand up. All right, they had to stand up. We got to stand up. We got to look the devil square in the eye. We gotta let him know it's his time to go, and make it clear when all we hear is a lie. Why you lying awake wondering where the money all went? It'll be the cost of freedom that'll go unspent. You can see him flee the scene of that experiment if you stand up. Alright, we got to speak up, we got to reach up, and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up, you got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up, show obedience to the voice inside, and listen well and it'll tell you not to run and hide. It says stand up.